And joining me now is Executive Director of Jazz St. Louis, Dobbs Bradford. Thank you so much for being here. This is great. The place looks awesome.
Thank you very much. It's really a pleasure to have you here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, tell me about all the new digs.
Well, if anybody hadn't been here before, one of the biggest things that we did was we reoriented the stage. So if you look over here where the bar was down there, that's where the stage used to be. And you can imagine now that if you were sitting where we're sitting or sitting back by the window here, you'd feel very far away from the music.
Okay.
But by moving the stage here to the center of the room and then opening up the balcony, there was a balcony that went around and had an oval above us. It opens up that whole section so there are more seats up top. And now everybody is a bit closer to the music, which I think makes it a much more enjoyable experience. So that even if you're sitting back there at those seats that are right close to the window, you're still not too far away.
Sure.
And then, of course, the biggest improvements that we made were in the acoustics. And we worked with Sam Burko, who is one of the top acousticians in the world. And he did work for SF Jazz and E-Town in Boulder, Colorado, and SF Jazz's facility in San Francisco. He's worked with the Hollywood Bowl. He's worked with Brooklyn Bowl in Las Vegas. He's really the go-to guy for jazz music and acoustics, and he helped design the room to make it sound as good as it can for jazz. So there's greater clarity for the audience. There's greater clarity for the musicians on stage. And overall, I think it's a much better experience. It's fully accessible now, where we weren't before. We have an elevator that can take you up to take you to any floor, and we have these nice restrooms on the first floor. And the restrooms in the old space weren't very good.
Okay.
So we have these. So that's been an improvement. It's in the kitchen, which used to be back here, is now in the other side of the building. So there's less noise coming from the kitchen, less distractions.
Great. And
so yeah.
How were these renovations made possible? Who did you partner with?
Oh well, we're in the middle of a capital campaign to raise the money for the facility, and we had some wonderful people like Worldwide Technology with Dave and Thelma Stewart. Dave Stewart was the chair, still is the chair of our capital campaign, but also John and Allison Faring. Nancy and Ken Kransberg, Josephine and Richard Weil, Centene, Emerson, Edward Jones, and many others who come together and made contributions to make this possible.
Great. And how important is it to have Jazz at the Bistro in this great Grand Center area?
Well, I think it's really important in a space that has so much world-class music. And, we have world-class symphony. We get world-class folk and jazz down at the Sheldon. We have world-class Broadway at the Fox Theater. We need a venue that was a world-class venue for jazz. And I think that this is going to help people in St. Louis to really connect with an important part of their cultural heritage. Jazz in St. Louis has been very influential around the world. Some of the most influential musicians who ever lived came from this area. And,
right.
That's something that we can celebrate. And I think by having a space that people aren't ashamed or afraid to come to, it actually invites them in. Well, I think that's going to make a big difference in helping to expand the audience for it.
Right, and I think this venue is unique because it isn't just a jazz club, it's also a place for education.
Exactly. On the third floor, we have our Centene Jazz Education Center. So we have 2 large rehearsal rooms, plus several practice rooms of varying sizes, but a few of them are big enough to accommodate a piano trio. We also have a computer lab. We're going to have a computer lab in there where students will be able to work on composition, music theory, ear training, that sort of thing. And a lounge where they'll be able to wait in between rehearsals. Or hopefully they'll go to their rehearsal and then they'll come down here to see a show.
Great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys are also involved with a lot of outreach. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, all the musicians who come to perform on the Jazz at the Bistro stage for our subscription concert, we contract with them to do education and outreach with students. And so they'll go out into a school and they'll do a workshop or master class, an in-school performance. But then we also have programs that expose kids to music, like our youth concerts, where we bus in 4,000 students.
Wow.
For 2 days of concerts with a group called Jazz Reach that's out of New York City, and they have this great audio-visual presentation. So you learn a little bit about the history, you learn about the instruments, you learn about the composers. And we also have programs that teach kids how to play music, which is one of the things that we're using those rehearsal rooms upstairs for, and that's our Jazz St. Louis All-Stars and our Jazz U program. And the students in those programs audition, and then they meet weekly for instruction by some of the best jazz educators, and of course they get sessions with some of the musicians who play here at the Bistro.
Great. Well, you're obviously have a huge passion for jazz, but you
Yes.
also love music in general, and
Yes.
you're also in a blues band. Tell me more about that.
Oh yeah, the Dobbs Bradford blues experience. When I was in college, I started playing harmonica because there were a lot of bass players. I used to play bass. I went to the Eastman School of Music to study. I was a classical bass player. I liked to play jazz, but there were a lot of other bass players, upperclassmen, who were getting all the gigs, right? So I was kind of left out. But I found out if I played harmonica, usually I could sit in or fit in with just about anything. So I started a band then, and now I have a band that's made up of some of the top. These guys are actually some of the guys who play here on the stage here, and but these guys play some blues. So.
Great. And one time you got to open for Chuck Berry?
Yeah, I did. Chuck Berry, funny, I was working at the Symphony at the time, and I was the director of operations there for 5 years. And they said, well, can your band come and play and open for Chuck Berry? Because we did this thing down at Keener Plaza. So I went down to play, and we played our set, and then Chuck comes up. And then folks from the Symphony came over, and they said, hey, Gene, Chuck has to leave. He's supposed to be here for 2 hours, but he says he's only staying for an hour. So can you get back there and play? And I said, sure. So we went back. So basically what ended up happening is I opened for Chuck Berry, and then Chuck Berry opened for me. So
I love that story.
yeah.
Well, I want to bring it back to Jazz at the Bistro. What can people expect now when they come to see a show?
I think they can expect a world-class experience. I think they can expect to hear the music really clearly. The musicians feel more comfortable. When the musicians feel more comfortable, they play better. So you're going to see what we've always had, which is a diverse range of different types of musicians. They're going to enjoy very comfortable surroundings. It's very warm. It's very welcoming, even though it's a very very clean and posh. We were not coat and tie or anything. You can come in jeans, you can come in t-shirt, just want you to come and appreciate and enjoy the music.
Well, great. Thank you so much for taking some time out and talking with us.
It's really been a treat.
And you're watching Show Me the Music. Well, a big thank you to all my guests on today's show. And on behalf of the entire crew, my name is Ben Province, and I'm asking you to show me the music.